What is going on, my friends? Welcome to another great episode of the Arrington Gavin Show, your go to spot for sharp insights, bold opinions, and unfiltered takes on the biggest stories of the day, whether it's politics, sports, pop culture, or even the latest buzz. Look, as always, we're diving deep and keeping it real. So do me a favor, kick back, stay informed, and get ready to join the conversation. As always, I want to thank you all, the listeners and viewers out there that continue to support the program by just taking 1 hour of your time to tune in to this amazing program. We're growing each and every day with subscribers, listenerships, viewerships, and we hope that you are enjoying the content that we give out. If not, please share your thoughts on the program by uh, uh DMing us through our Instagram at the Arrington Gavin Show. You can also contact us simply by leaving a comment on our YouTube channel while you're watching this clip. Hey, leave a comment. Give us your thoughts. We love to hear feedback, good and bad, from the listeners. What else we got going on? This is episode 292, and yes, I am still very much so celebrating. If you might ask, if you checked out, if you tuned into our social media, yes, I recently had a birthday. I'm now entering into, I've retired my 20s, and I'm officially a 30-year-old. And the first thing that comes to mind is like, wow, Arrington, what are you doing with your life? Everything that you said you want to do by 30, yeah, you haven't done that. So get to it, son. Get to it. Like, you ever have those thoughts when you turn either a milestone age or just when you turn a new age? You're like, damn, I want to have this done by this age, that done. But hey, life happens. Nothing comes easy. But hey, I'm very grateful. Blessed to see another year. Had a great time hanging with some friends. Didn't really do too much, man. I was talking to a buddy of mine earlier and explaining when I was a kid, right? My parents always throw, mainly my mom. She always wanted to throw these like, you know, off the wall, uh, uh, big huge parties for me. I was always that kid that had all the classmates come to the class. Always look forward to an Arrington party. They're like, "Oh snap, yeah, it's gonna be dope." Yada yada yada. And so as a kid, I had great parties. The older I got, my wife always loved to plan surprise gatherings and stuff with friends. And it's just like, I hang out with folks almost all the time. Whether if it's like a networking event, whether if it's just, my wife and I going out, or if we hang with a another close friends of ours, another couple, every couple weeks, every few weeks here and there. And so it's like sometimes I just want to like kick back and chill. I love what I'm doing here with you all is what I love to do in my spare time. I love to just sit down and have conversations. I love to hear myself, think too, because I was out and about, and there's a couple of there's a couple of bars that can get loud, right? When the music is just so loud you can't even hear yourself thinking. I'm just like, can you please just turn the music down? So I say all that to say, um, I like to just kick back and go to to a nice cigar lounge and just enjoy the conversations amongst folks and stuff like that. So yeah, had a turn 30. um I am, yeah, like I said, I retired the 20s, and and very excited to see what the next best thing there is to come for me. Y'all, look, multiple ways you can tune into the show. You can watch us via streaming platforms of YouTube. Our YouTube channel is obviously the Arrington Gavin Show. You can check us out on Rumble as well. And you can check us out on Goatverse TV Network, the Goatverse TV app. It is free, by the way. So please download it today if you have it on the App Store or the Google Play Store. You can also download it on the Roku app, as well as on Amazon Fire. So look, our audience is growing. We have access to reach millions of households through those platforms, and we want to continue that momentum. We want to continue pushing that great narrative, and I'm very grateful to be a part of Goatverse TV. It's some amazing programs on that show, and I'm grateful to be a part of those amazing folks. I'm talking like uh, uh the Bare Naked Truth podcast. You have music videos of great independent artists that have growing careers in the music industry. Um, Goat Talk Live. I mean, it's so much great stuff, man. Please do me a favor, download the app today. Like as I mentioned, it's free. Also, you can listen to us wherever you get your podcast. So we're available on all major podcast platforms. As well, you can listen to reruns of the program through our friends on our radio affiliate WDJY 99.1 FM Straight Talk out of the Metro Atlanta area. So, yes, there's multiple ways you can tune into the program. We are continuing to uh, 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 change change the narrative each and every conversation at a time. We're bringing to you great conversations with great guests, and I can't wait because I have another amazing guest in store for you all very soon. So I'm excited to have. I've been in conversation with so many folks, man, because at least on a state level, we have some big elections happening. So we're going to be hearing from some candidates that are either seeking reelection or hoping to enter into a new world of politics as an up and coming, potential underdog candidate. So I'm excited of what the stuff I have in store for you all. Also, do me a favor, follow us on our social media platforms. You can follow us at Instagram on the at the Arrington Gavin Show on Instagram, Blue Sky, X, as well as Substack. All right, so you can check us out through those platforms. Our Instagram has a pretty great presence, content that I don't have the time to show to discuss on this program. I move it on to Instagram because I get to have a little time. If I don't feel like talking and I just feel like putting it in writing, then hey, look, you can go to my Substack. Uh not Instagram, Blue Sky and X kind of work in the same way. It's funny, one is more quote unquote conservative, the other one is more liberal, but they're the exact same damn kind of social media platform. But I do kind of throw in some interesting just little snippet kind of clips or articles I repost. It's a lot. It's a lot when it comes to social media and all that content and whatnot. So those are ways you can tune into the program. Let's see what do we have going on next. Look, let's get it going real quick with our fun fact of the day before we get going in the show. Let's start off with our fun fact of the day. On today's fun fact, did you know that George Washington didn't belong to a political party? Did you know? It says here that the first U.S. president, George Washington, never joined a political party and warned against them in his farewell address. You should have listened to him. Y'all, you should have listened to him. He's like, no, I'm not a part of I'm for the people. So you're telling me like the president that actually has some common sense to say, hey, look, this two-party system is not going to work out. He was the first guy. And what did they do? They said, whatever, George, and said, no, we're gonna turn it into right versus left or left versus right or Democrat, Republican. It's it's all about competition. It's all about competition. And so we now live in a world where the two major parties are only popular because of money and because of funding. You have really a variety of political parties. The reason in my mind why they never get uh the proper attention is because they for one they don't have the funding. A lot of corporations tend to lean either right or left. They lean with the which one is more popular, which one is going to make me look good, right? I don't know if you haven't watched this program called Paradise. And Paradise is an interesting show, and it stars. I don't know his name right now, but he was the. Oh gosh, I hate to say that. He was one of the main characters on This Is Us. He was a black guy on This Is Us. He was. Oh, let me. What is his name? I want to be that person. Be like he was the black guy from This Is Us because there really wasn't a lot of black people on that show. Let's see. Let's see. What was his? What is his name? What is his name? Oh, now I'm spelling it wrong. Come on, Arrington. There we go. Sterling K. Brown. Great actor, by the way. Great actor. Sterling K. Brown. It also stars James Marsden, Julianne Nicholson, Sarah Shahi. Really, it was really just a few faces that I recognize from there, but it's a great show. Anyway, on the show, there was a scene where, and I hate to give away the show, but I who cares? Y'all need to check it out. It's on Hulu, by the way. It's called Paradise, and there was a scene where a father of a politician, upcoming politician, had said, because his son wanted to pursue other ventures, and did not want to pursue politics. His father said, "Look, in this branch of government, you could win as a you can win as a Democrat, if you run for Congress. If you run for governor, your best bet is running as a Republican." Interesting strategy, right? Interesting strategy. So I bring all that up to say, look, it's all a part of the game. As corny as it sounds, it's all a part of the game. It's all a part of how society is feeling at this very moment. They're going to lean, multiple parts of the world are going to lean more right some days. Multiple parts of the world is going to lean more left. It's all about, the times, west, east, midwest, north, south. It's interesting. It's a very interesting kind of thing that occurs. So yes, that was our fun fact. George Washington never affiliated with the party, and I mean, hey, can you blame him? I mean, it would drive me crazy if I was affiliate with the party in today's day and age, because they both are. Whew, they both need help. They both need help. Okay. Um. Yeah. So let's go head on and shout out some of our amazing sponsors that we have, like our friends over at Hybrid Productions. That's right, my friends, looking to bring your story to life. At Hybrid Productions, they don't just create videos, they craft experiences, whether it's commercials, music videos, documentaries, or corporate content. Your vision is their masterpiece. With cutting edge technology and creative team that pushes boundaries and a passion for storytelling, they take your ideas to the next level. From concept to final cut, they deliver results that captivate and inspire. So, ready to make an impact? Go on and start collaborating with Hybrid Productions today. Do me a favor, you can follow them on social media at Hybrid Productions with the Z. You can also check their website out, hybridproductions.com. Look, I have worked with this amazing production crew for quite some time. They have never did me wrong. I've worked with multiple projects, from my very first podcast, our Smooth Club podcast, which you can still listen and tune into through our through YouTube and podcast platforms. That was my very first. That was my debut into the podcast world, and then what do we do after that? And then, hey, in your city, uh, I also have, obviously, the Arrington Gavin show, and then also Arrington's Most Interesting People, where I get to sit down with some influential figures and have really in-depth one-on-one conversations, and that's brought to you by Hyper Productions. And so, let me tell you something. They're a great, great company to work with. As a business owner, I do believe it is very important to, in order to grow your business, you have to have amazing content. All right. You have to have uh, great content, digital content, when it comes to commercials, voice audio commercials, visual commercials, social media, like everything is key. We're visual learners out here. So you have to invest in for one, what works, right? But also to help get your message across, get creative, and Hybrid Productions is that company for you. So I highly recommend them. I want to thank them for being a proud supporter of the Arrington Gavin show. All right, my friends, look, we're gonna take a quick commercial break. Do not go anywhere. We have a lot more show for you here on the Arrington Gavin show. We'll be right back after these commercial breaks.
Order your beard care products with Rugged Evolution. We're your local beard care line that supports the maintenance of your full, mature beard. Our line includes conditioning shampoos, moisturizers, balms, oils, shaving lotions, and exfoliating soaps. These products moisturize, hydrate, nourish, and have all the natural ingredients for a healthy beard. Log on to our website or download our app to place your orders. Become a man of distinction with Rugged Evolution Beard Care. And remember,
Rugged is the new
And we still in traffic.
Don't look familiar, do I? Not in this seat.
Hey, what's that you listening to?
Here to host today.
Hey, turn it up. Yeah, this that new Goat Verse app. I got you.
So y'all want to know where the goats are? They're off on the sidelines.
Looking for fresh, relevant content wherever you go?
What was the name of the app he said?
Introducing GoatVerse TV.
GoatVerse, that's what it's called.
The free streaming app that brings you the best podcasts, current events, and thought-provoking opinions all in one place. Download it now from the Apple Store or Play Store. In Goats, we trust.
That's right. In Goats, we trust. Shout out to GoatVerse TV. If you happen to be tuning into, if you're on the GoatVerse TV app, you're probably watching us right now. So hello, audience from the that are watching us via GoatVerse TV. Shout out. Let's get it going. I want to continue on the conversation I had on the last show that I didn't get to finish and talk more about the struggles that's going on right now in the Democratic Party, specifically with individuals like Minority Leader Senator Chuck Schumer out of New York. Now, he had recently received some backlash for voting on a recent GOP bill. It was him along with other Democratic Democratic leaders that a lot of people on the left are saying, like, what are you doing? What in the world? And I even went to the verge of showing a image of him embracing Donald Trump, which it was a bit back. It was an interesting looking embrace. It wasn't like, oh yeah, we got him this time. No, it was like it was weird. It's like you could see so many signals. Either he was saying, hey, look, you owe me on this one. Remember what I said? And then it's like Donald's like, come here, you did the right thing. And so this is a reporter from Politico, says here that liberal groups call for Schumer to step down as minority leader after the spending bill vote. So I mentioned a little bit about this on the last time. Now, the big issue that a lot of folks are frustrated with Chuck Schumer is the fact that what he did, was it really looking out for the people? Because he was preventing a government shutdown. So for me, I'm like, hey, you don't want to shut down occur because that means folks will not work and get paid. So don't you want to do all you can to focus on constituents? Now, other folks are saying, well, he was just looking out for his best interest and looking out for his donors, right? It's back and forth because Schumer is one of Donald Trump's biggest critics. Let's just make that clear. But let me read you a little more of this article from Politico in content. It says here that let's see here. Says here that the liberal organization, I can't get my words out. The liberal organizing group Invincible said recently it was calling for Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer to step down from leadership roles. And that was after the latest fallout after he backed a GOP bill to keep the government open. Now, let's read some more in content, shall we? The group's call is the latest sign of just how much Schumer's decision to vote for a Republican bill has angered a Democratic grassroots itching for a fight with President Trump. So here's the thing. one of the biggest things that's frustrating the Democratic voters out there is the fact that they look at the Democratic Party as weak, as okay, you're gonna do whatever you can. You say you're gonna fight, but how exactly are you gonna do so? What are your ways? What show me some examples of you actually fighting for us? Now you see the rise of folks like a Jasmine Crockett, a Democratic Congresswoman out of Texas, who has been very blunt and viral on her responses. You know, with her um clapback moment with Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, with her blunt response on what does she think about Elon Musk, and the list goes on and on and on. And she just showed as a tough cat. Right now, there's traditional Democrats that have been in office for a long time saying, no, that's not the way to go, this and that and the other. I can't say this, I can't say. But guess what? Once again, you need to listen to the people. The people are saying, why can't you just make an effort and show that you're fighting for us? Unlike somebody like a Chuck Schumer, who led a group of Democrats to say, no, we don't need to no, we got to go on this bill. We're going to do all we can. Because here's the thing. A lot of folks are saying them shutting down the government was like the Democrats' leverage against the new administration, against the Trump administration. Now, as I mentioned earlier, government shutdowns is not always good. Now, they can last long. Sometimes they can last very short, but at the end of the day, that's money out of folks' pocket. It says here many Democrats saw potential government shutdown as one of the party's sole points of, as I mentioned, leverage. Says here, Schumer and a handful of Democrats aligned with him argued doing so would only give the pair more power, and that the consequences of a shutdown would be worse than the bill. Now, Schumer's decision roiled Democrats, who noted that the party has been near united in the House in opposing it. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries deflected recently, saying, when asked whether he had lost confidence in Schumer while saying his conversation with the fellow New York Democrat would remain private. Now, in a statement from Invincible, that grassroots organizing group that I mentioned earlier, and this launched during Trump's first administration, is signed that the anger among Democrats extends beyond the halls of Congress. Invincible said 82% of its leaders in New York City and 91% nationwide had voted to call for Schumer to step down. Excuse me, to step aside. Says here, after weeks of constituents demanding that Democrats use the rare precautious point of leverage on the government funding bill, Schumer did the opposite. The group's co-executive director, Ezra Levin, said in the release he led the charge to wave the white flag of surrender. But Invincible has no intentions of surrendering to Trump, Musk, and congressional Democrats. Look, Schumer, once again, listen to the people. This is what the Democrats have struggled with. They do not listen to their constituents. Your strategy is, you're doing a piss poor job. It is awful. You have so many folks. Now, look, you do have your traditional Democrats that says, hey, look, I'm not going to argue. You have your moderate Democrats that are, in solidarity with Schumer's how the way he voted on his vote. But a lot of folks are saying, what is happening? So let me go ahead and play you the soundbite. This was from U.S. Senator John Fetterman out of Pennsylvania. This is what he wanted to say in response to the whole Schumer and the division happening really within the Democratic Party. Let me go ahead and play you what he had to say, and then I have another soundbite to share with you on of a lot of folks on the left anchors and other fellow constituents that feel the same way. But let's play you Fetterman first.
And we've heard Democrats in the House really upset about Schumer's move, the progressive base, also a Democratic base. But what do you think it says about the Democratic Party?
I'm terrified to know that they're angry or frustrated. Well, yelling on social media isn't leadership. Okay, I'll be the Democrat that's not going to pander, and I'm going to tell you the truth. And if you think shutting the government is smart, then I thought you're not supposed to get in a war when there's no exit plan. You know, guess what? They're going to realize that the exit ramp is owned by the GOP. We are going to do the things that Musk and Trump can't do, and that's shutting the government down. We will shut it down for them and can only turn it back on only GOP's term, and they have unlimited time to do whatever they want to the government that. So, like I said, they can yell and fundraise off of that, but I'll be the only Democrat that's going to tell America the truth about shutting the government down, and that would be a disaster, and I'm daring them to keep pushing.
And do you think Democrats ever actually had leverage in this fight?
What leverage do we have? Democrats keep showing up at every night fight with a casserole, and they have these cheesy paddles, and then they, pick your fight or cheese ball stuff. Where's your messaging? And if you think now you're tough to shut the government down, then how do you get back in? Because millions of Americans are going to be impacted. A lot of them aren't even going to get paid, but they all get paid. What's the exit ramp? How do we even restart the government? Why? Because it's going to be under the terms of Musk and Trump and the GOP.
And we've heard Democrats in the House.
Y'all, I'll be honest. Fetterman has a point. He has a point. Because what did he first say? All right, we're not trying to have a government shutdown. So that's something I can see, right? Then on top of that, it dawned on me when they had mentioned leverage. I also wanted to say, what leverage do they have when you say you have a majority? You don't have the majority in the House and Senate. So what leverage do you have? Now, I think he was a little bit over exaggerating with the trying to, play this role of mimicking them, and it was a bit weird, but I get his point. Now, there's things that I do agree with Fetterman as far as his tactics. I'll be honest, I am not the fan of the arguing, the back and forth. I don't think you win it with that. All you just have is shouting matches. You don't win you don't win at all. With that, it might feel good for you as a elected official to do that, but at the end of the day, who's it going to hurt the most? Your constituents. So I hear what he's trying to say. Look, at least he's making the effort of saying, look, I'm trying to meet some kind of common ground, and look, I'm team hippie with them on that one. Look, how can we meet in the middle? How can we meet a common ground with that rather than just always going against the grain with things? Now, at some point, John, you do have to be a fighter. You can't always be a person say, well, no. You still have to be a fighter in situations. Why? Because making the effort of fighting builds loyalty with folks. And that's something that the Democratic Party is struggling right now, is the loyalty factor amongst their voters. It's the same going on the right. The right, you have Trump voters regretting their vote because they're like, wait a minute, why is this happening? Why is Elon doing this? Why is Elon? Look, folks, we all know that loyalty is priceless. That loyalty has so much power. And when you gain that loyalty and that trust, sky's the limit from there. Especially when it comes towards a campaign season, when it comes to, primaries and, election seasons. So I go back to say, I hear what Fetterman is saying. Do I fully agree with him? No, but I do understand, and I follow where he's trying to do it. I don't think mocking his own party is gonna help. I don't think that. I really don't. And in my opinion, if you're so, I like seeing folks that are always anti-establishment in a sense. Like, hey, look, I'm not gonna always cave in with my own party. If they're wrong, they're wrong. They're wrong in this case. I'm gonna speak my mind. And sometimes you gotta like that. Sometimes it can be annoying because it's like, okay, you're always speaking. No, you gotta respect that. Now that was from Fetterman, who's more on the more on the Schumer side of this whole thing. But let me play you this soundbite from folks like a Simone Sanders Townsend, MSNBC anchor, former Biden Harris, I don't know what was her, not aide, but she worked in the Biden Harris administration prior to coming to television. Let me go ahead and show you her response along with other fellow anchors in responding to the cuts of the Trump administration. Let me go ahead and play you this soundbite real quick, my friends, and we can chat about that on the other end as well.
What's in this continuing resolution? Well, there are cuts on page 17, on page 22. I wrote this down. There are cuts on page 46, cuts on page 42, 22, cuts on page 62, cuts on page 63, cuts on page 64. Page 62 is where they cut $300 million from the Cures Act. Burn pits for veterans. Page 22 is where they zero out the money for the COPS program. I didn't write down which page it was on, but within this document, $1 billion cut from Washington, D.C. I'm a D.C. resident, and I'm pissed. Yep. Okay, so, there's actually little that the Senate minority leader can say, and the 10 Democrats that voted with the Republicans can say, to appease somebody like me. I'm about to change my registration to independent.
When they cut half the people, it's like evisceration by 1,000 cuts. Yeah. So you want to do this? Have the fight with us in Congress. Let's make sure we get the issues out there. I'm so mad. I'm spitting mad about this because it's hurting the people who can't vote. Children don't vote. Let's not take away their opportunity.
Well, I know you've pledged to cover and be here for the first 100 days of the Trump presidency. I hope you noticed that I did not make that same pledge when you did.
You're not going anywhere, are you?
Well, here's the thing. This is day 52. I thought it was day 92. It turns out it's day 52, Rachel, and I'm exhausted at day 52. And so I'm going to take next week off. And I'm telling you that now because I know you don't like it when I just drift away, and I don't. But just taking next week off. Then I can come back and go with you all the way to the 100 days. And
I know we all tell each other you have to take care of yourself. You got to pace yourself. You got to be in this for the long haul. And so I can't hold it against you, but I'm very sad.
Can you hold this against me? I'm going to get a head start by taking tomorrow off.
What's in this?
So obviously, they are not a fan of the choices that was made. That was again led by Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. I'm going to digress from this because this will be ongoing, but in addition to, actually, I'm going to stay with this topic. I'm going to take a quick commercial break. I want to stick around with reasons why the Democratic Party's favorability rating has been dropping. Right, I'm pointing out finding some tidbits of potentially why this is occurring. But what I am going to do, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, I'm going to have a little more to say with this because it's been on my mind, y'all. It's been on my mind, and I just can't get it off my mind. So do not go anywhere, my friends. We have a lot more show, as I mentioned, of the Arrington Gavin Show. So do not go anywhere. Do not change that dial. We'll be right back after these commercial breaks. All right, my friends, welcome back to the Arrington Gavin Show. Look, I want to continue on explaining why the Democratic Party happens to be dropping in their uh, uh, favorability rates. Why we're seeing a drop, why they continue to plummet, why are they continuing to not see eye to eye, why are they losing voters, why are folks leaving the left going independent, just why are people frustrated with uh Democratic leadership right now. So we've already mentioned on the whole Chuck Schumer issue that's occurring, but another thing too, I don't know if y'all recently heard or I've talked about it here on the program, but California Governor Gavin Newsom had announced that he was starting a podcast. He's already done a few episodes of it, where he has folks from opposing viewpoints on the program, somewhat having civil dialogue, civil discourse conversations, which, hey, I'm all, I'm a fan of. I don't want to see back and forth debates all the time. It's cool to see folks from opposing viewpoints still having cordial conversation, being respectful to each other and things like that. But my biggest issue, why, with the governor in this venture, is the fact that you're the governor of a state that literally just had a natural disaster occur. You had the worst wildfire, I would say, of would you say of 2024? Was it at the ending of 2024 or the beginning of 2025? I think it was like in the beginning of 2025 is when they had that. And it's sickening. You have so many issues going on from that. Obviously, still trying to overcome the homeless rate. The cost of living is crazy in the state of California. Yet you make the time to want to have a podcast. Now, look, I get it. If you do so when your term is over as governor, because this is your last term, but don't do so while you're in it. To me, I'm not a fan of politicians that are currently serving in office with podcasts. I'm not a fan, or even radio shows. I'm not crazy about it. I'm really not. And I know they've done it in the past with mayors having their own weekly talk shows, or maybe having a segment, this and that, but I'm not crazy about it. uh Gavin Newsom, he oozes out like the Hollywood vibe, right? Slick back hair, is always smiling 24/7, like when there's good and bad times. Now, I have much respect for him because he's one of the ones that can compete against the right, especially when it comes to debates, right? He's a great debater. Um, he's not scared to enter into the lion's den or enemy territory. Recently, when he started this podcast, he had Charlie Kirk on. Charlie flipping Kirk, who is the founder of, I think, Turning Point USA. He's a far right conservative talker who I find extremely annoying. I really don't tune into his uh, uh, content at all. I just happen to know, hey, he's grown a huge platform. He's grown a huge audience. He's made a lot of money at a very young age. So for that, clap it up for you, sir. Um, and then you have guys like Steve Bannon, who he recently had on his program. Steve Bannon is a former aide to Donald Trump. He's a very controversial figure, far right leaning conservative talker. He hosts a program, I think, called War Room. I've checked out a couple of his, I won't say a couple, I've checked out some shows of his. uh he comes from a side of, in my opinion, very bizarre and paranoid kind of take on things. He's very blunt, very interesting kind of guy. So here's just a little clip of him and Newsom, or he was on Newsom's podcast, and this is what just a little, again, a little snippet of the conversation that those gentlemen had amongst each other. So let me play that, and then I'll continue on explaining why. Hey, is this a good idea? Is this a bad idea? I'll let you tune in, and then I'll share my take on it.
Bright future. Uh, hey,
Steve, I really enjoy this conversation. I think it's incredibly valuable, and I appreciate the spirit to which we were able to engage, and I hope we can continue the conversation, and I hope we get out of this week without any further disruptions. It's been a hell of a beginning of administration, and I appreciate your advocacy. I also appreciate that you call balls and strikes as it relates to what you're seeing with the administration.
I also think that for your audience, there's a saying that there are decades in which nothing happens and there are weeks in which decades happen. We're living in that time right now. So whatever happens this week, next week, it's going to be quite intense. We have a economy to turn around geostrategically. The beginning of the kinetic part of the Third World War has got to be stopped. So we're living history every day. And I'm just honored you had me on here, and we were able to conduct this in some level of decency.
I appreciate it, Steve.
Yeah, so that's what he's doing with Steve Bannon. So I thought it was hilarious because did y'all hear him say, I like or I respect your advocacy? Advocacy. Did you hear him say that? I appreciate your advocacy. Let's not, forget this man was charged on fraud charges for the whole We Build a Wall scandal, right? That's one. Contempt for Congress, ties to extremist groups like far right nationalist movements, influence on Cambridge Analytica, money laundering and conspiracy allegations, clashes with Trump administration, promotion of misinformation, influence of global politics. There's so many issues that occur with Steve Bannon. To say I appreciate your advocacy is hilarious, Governor, is hilarious. So to say that, to act like you all are good and buddy in this is like it scratches your head like, what are you trying to explain, sir? What are you really trying to prove amongst this conversation? Because please don't give us a whole cookie cutter. I'm just trying to promote civil dialogue, civil discourse, right? We can agree, disagree, but still have very cordial. Bull. That is no. In this current state, leave that up to folks like me. Okay, leave that up to folks like me. I always say I welcome folks on the opposing sides of opinions for great conversation, right? As long as you don't promote hate towards an individual or specific group, we're cool. But everybody is entitled to their own opinion. But you are, again, the Democratic governor of one of the most liberal states in the United States. And you're literally saying, I appreciate your advocacy to a Steve Bannon. Man, you're doing this now. And it's like, why now? Right? Obviously, this wouldn't, if he wouldn't do this podcast if he was seeking another re-election. Okay, work with me, people, work with me. And then lastly, and I don't mean this as a sign of disrespect towards recently, the Democratic Party lost two individuals, I think of Congress, and that was Sylvester Turner, who was a long-standing mayor of the city of Houston, and then he became a congressman of Texas. He passed away the day after Donald Trump's first State of the Union address, and it's extremely sad because really, he did not have a lot of time to, he rarely, he wasn't in Congress for what, not even 100 days, if I'm mistaken. Excuse me, as I try to look back on. Well, I take that back. Hold on. He's a former, he served the House for 27 years before he moved to public service. Okay, so he was in Congress prior to that, and then mayor, and then came back to Congress. But it was him, and then it was another gentleman. Give me 1 second as I find the name. Raul Grajava. he was a Democratic representative, and he passed after his battle of cancer at 77. Thoughts and prayers go out to their families, because I know that was very tough on them. I know they're still cooping with the loss of their loved one. What I'm trying to bring up, and again, this is no disrespect to those individuals who serve this country. My thing is, y'all, where are the Democratic strategists and consultants at? Because if you know that somebody like a Sylvester Turner, who was battling cancer prior to running for Congress, why would you pursue him to run? Again, I go back to health is not the strongest, and when you enter in the higher office, it is a mother. It stresses you out. It can get you can get sick in that job. I mean, it's just like, why do you do? And then with this gentleman also battling with cancer, like what? Like, if you're trying to again look for the next best thing, or you're trying to win, you see what I'm trying to say? Don't try to fall behind folks who are extremely ill and getting up there in age. It's just a strategy is just not making sense for me. Again, this is no disrespect towards those individuals. They did their job. They earned where they're at. The voters voted. But I feel as though the Democratic Party should have gathered up gather up candidates that would have more of a fair shot. That's all I'm saying. Let me digress from this, y'all, and move it on, because I've talked a lot about politics within this program. But let me go to this story right here, because this really caught my attention too. Let me digress from this. I want to talk about this this Starbucks issue that occurred recently. Let me see if I can find it. Let me find this soundbite and play it for you. So, I don't know if you heard, and this reported by the Guardian. Jury awards $50 million to a man injured by scalding hot tea from Starbucks. Now, what I'm about to do, I'm about to play you a clip of the video, and this just shows how broken the justice system is, because in my opinion, if you see that video and you think that this was a mistake on the employee of Starbucks, you are very much mistaken in my view, because the eye in the sky don't lie, in my opinion. I looked at this and I'm like, y'all got to be well, I said a couple of words, but I'm not gonna say that. Let me go ahead, for those who are watching, let me go ahead and play this video for you, and I will share this video on my social media for those who are listening, so just so you can get an eye view of it too. So let me go ahead and play this for you guys. All right, so you see right there, she gives him the tea. All right, let's play that again. Let's play again. Let's go. Okay. She has 3 of those things in the little container, right? They're there. Boom, out of her hand. She gives it to him, and then he drops it when he's turning to, I guess, put it aside or give it to somebody. Look, in my opinion, that's a mistake on the gentleman who purchased the tea. That's not a mistake on that employee. Says here that the delivery driver said he was disfigured when improperly secured drink spilled after he picked it up at a drive-through. Now, he said they're saying improperly secured. So let me read this in context, because like I said, I've just by looking at that video, it looks like that employee should not be at fault. But let me read more in context. Might help out. A delivery driver was awarded, as I mentioned earlier, $50 million in a lawsuit after being seriously burnt when a Starbucks drink spilled in his lap at a California drive-through court records show. A Los Angeles County jury found recently that Mike Garcia, who underwent skin grafts and other procedures on his genitals after a venti tea drink spilled just after he collected it on this was in 2020, February 8th of 2020. He has suffered permanent and life-changing disfigurement. Ooh. In an Instagram statement, his attorney said after a hospitalization and multiple skin grafts, Michael has lived for 5 years with disfigurement, pain, discomfort, and psychological harm caused by his burns. Now, according to his attorneys, Garcia sustained burns from one of his 3 venti size. Now, to my knowledge, I'm trying to learn the whole Starbucks culture, Starbucks translation. I think venti means large. I hope I'm right. I'm probably wrong, but my wife would definitely correct me once I get off this show with you all. I'm pretty sure venti is large, and Trenti or Trenta might be medium, and grande. I don't know. They're all stupid terms. Just large, medium, small. Anyway, venti size medicine ball hot teas, which I love medicine balls. They're so good, by the way. When he was picking up, so he says, okay, the off-menu item consists of steamed lemonade, hot water, jade citrus mint green tea, peach tranquility tea, and honey. Yum. Which the internet users have hailed as a cure for cold symptoms. Very true. Now, in a statement, Starbucks offered $30 million to settle, but wanted confidentiality. We said, and I quote, we said we would settle for $30 million without confidentiality, and only if Starbucks agreed to publicly apologize and promise to change policies to prevent this from happening again to Garcia. Now, my thing is, what policy are you trying to prevent? The girl had it, and it was it was in place for her. So if it fell for him, why did it not? If it was such, if the 3 drinks were not put in the holders properly, why didn't those drinks fall for her and not for him? See what I mean? She gave it to him, let go, and then it was history. So I'm trying to figure out why is Starbucks at fault. Now, I will say there's been times. Now, I probably shouldn't say this now because I'm probably gonna have a lawsuit. But anyway, there was a couple of moments where say I had a Starbucks cup, and if I grab it, the cap wasn't sealed tight enough, right? But they will double the cup. Now, I've had moments like that. I'm like, okay, let me start there. Look, I ain't here, chasing a lawsuit. All right, that's me. I'm not like chasing a fine. Oh, they burned my hand, on my neck, my back, my neck, and my back. I'm not that kind of person. But, and not trying to say Mr. Garcia is, but hey, once you burn your genitals, man, I would want some money too. Shoot, it's like, look, I know I'm gonna get some money now. But it says here that Garcia's negligence lawsuit blamed his injuries on Starbucks, saying that an employee didn't wedge the scalding hot tea firmly enough into a takeout tray. Now, the big question is, should they redesign the holding trays in cups? Should they redesign it? Should they have ones for excuse me, for different sizes? Now, you heard it here first, folks. This is public information right here. It's going to be on the show. So don't try and steal this idea. But you have different sizes in cups. Wouldn't it possibly help to have like a tray that maybe might lift a little higher for the larger cups? Because don't put a venti or a large one on a tray that can only hold maybe like the butt of that drink, because then you have an issue like this guy. Now, somebody's probably already starting this up, I don't know, but all I'm saying is that this man left a $50 million richer, $50 million richer, all because somebody did not quote unquote secured the drink properly in a tray. Now I'm curious if that girl got fired. I don't know, but all I'm saying is somebody left out there with $50 million. Must be nice. Must be nice. Just give me like 5 million, y'all. A lot of folks will say, like a lot of my older family members will say, just give me $1 million, child. All I need is $1 million. You know what I can do with $1 million? And you know what I say? Give me 5 million. You know what I can do with 5 million? Matter of fact, give me 10. I'm going up another 5. Give me 10 million. I will be satisfied. I can do so much great stuff with the $10 million. You won't hear a word from me anymore. I will still do this show from a brand new state of the art studio, not from this little rinky dink backyard closet curtain studio, but I would definitely be having fun with $50 million. But again, y'all, I think at the end of the day, this is going to be a lesson learned for Starbucks and for other businesses that happen to sell, coffees or teas. You just really have to check and really be secure, because see, Starbucks, being that it's so popular, they have moments where they are on a roll and they just want to hurry up and get folks out and move it kind of thing. And hey, they have a strict, what's what I'm looking for? They're on a strict time crunch with Starbucks. Those workers, you have Chick-fil-A workers and you have Starbucks workers. Customer service superb. Their structure, their format, everything is so sharp. So yeah. So trust and believe they're going to be doing like years and years of training with this because of this $50 million loss that occurred within the corporation, within the Starbucks corporation. But as I mentioned, hey, this brother, $50 million richer. I'm sorry that he's going through going through so many psychological issues because of that, and horrifying moments that he has to relive. But I will just say, bro, man, you got $50 million. Be grateful. Anyway, y'all, look, that is my time. As always, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule for tuning into the Arrington Gavin Show. Be sure to continue to support us by tuning in Monday through Friday, weeknights, available on all platforms, YouTube, Rumble, all podcast platforms, as well as Goatverse TV. And you can check out reruns on our radio affiliate, WDJY 99.1 FM, Monday through Fridays at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Arrington Gavin Show. Y'all take care, my friends. God bless. I will see you next time for another great episode of the Arrington Gavin Show. I am out.